I've seen a few iPad videos out there on the internet from some of my favorite content creators and why they ordered the most expensive version of the brand new M1 iPad Pro. Well, guess what? Well, you probably don't actually have to, since I named this video what we're going to talk about. I ordered the cheapest, well, cheap is a relative term here. I ordered the cheapest 12.9-inch option, and I think it will end up being one of the best. So, why is that? Let's find out. This isn't it, by the way. What's up, everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. Look, no shade is being thrown at my fellow content creators. They have their reasons, and I love the work they put out. This is just my rationale for why I didn't spend nearly as much money as they did. First off, in my reasons, I feel like whenever tech media in general covers new devices, it's always either a maxed out version or a specifically provided version that gets most of the power a computer, tablet, machine, whatever, it gets most of that what they're capable of. So those specifically provided machines may not be at the top of the power food chain, but it's generally not at the budget end of the options either. And personally, I usually buy base model things. I bought the base model XPS 15, the base model MacBook Air. I don't know, I've just always personally judged tech on what they can do at the lowest level. And in that vein, I ordered the base model 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I also ordered the base model 11-inch one too, so we can see that one in the future as well. I think that if you are looking to get an iPad or looking to upgrade, this is probably going to be the #1 option. I've gone on and on about this during the great 8GB versus 16GB crisis of the M1 MacBooks. And look, I'm somebody that weathered that storm, and I kept the cheapest base model M1 MacBook Air as my primary travel laptop. It'll be okay, fam. I'm not sure if this is a rational feeling to hold on to, but it's just a personal opinion of mine that has definitely stuck with me. Any device can be powerful if you throw enough money into the higher end features. You see this in cars, computers, lots of different industries. But if you really want to see where a company has innovated and where they've done the most with the smallest amount of product budget, look at those base models. This is the base model 2020 iPad Pro, and it's so good. For a quick, we can see an example in Apple's own product line right now. Let's look at the new M1 iMacs. I actually hope that I can look at mine very soon. I hope it ships here pretty soon. The $1299 base model of that machine has the same processor, a slightly less powerful GPU, and I mean slightly less powerful. All it really lacks is a couple key features. It's missing the 2 extra USB ports, it doesn't have the Ethernet built into the power adapter, and you miss out on the keyboard with Touch ID. But those are all what I would consider nice to haves, and not necessarily need to haves. The base model will get you 98% of the same experience as somebody with the higher end machine. Base models are where the rubber meets the road. Specifically when we say that, for this video, I mean the M1 iPad Pro. So let's talk about what you get if you order the most expensive and how that will compare to what we get at the cheapest. Then let's dig into the rationale why I didn't want to spend any of that money on a super powerful tablet that might actually weigh my backpack down a noticeable amount. The absolute highest end of the iPad Pro 12.9-inch, it does have a few key features to it. You can max out the memory to 2 terabytes, but as a secondary upgrade, if you order 1 or 2 terabytes of storage, you'll get 16 gigabytes of unified memory. You can also get that with a cellular 5G connection instead of just the plain old Wi-Fi model. All of that will run you $23.99. I'm sorry, what? $2,400 for a tablet is, well, that hurts, and I took that personally. For $2,400, you could kit out a full YouTube studio. For $2,400, you could get an iMac with 1 terabyte of storage, 16 gigabytes unified memory, and the Magic Mouse with the trackpad option. Okay, Gary, we get it. That's an enormous amount of money for what is essentially a gigantic iPhone. And okay, that's not totally fair. I am very excited for this iPad, and I do think there is some legitimately amazing technology inside of it, but maxing it out just doesn't seem like a reasonable way to go for me. Okay, so specifically what we are getting with the most expensive option, 2 terabytes of storage, and that's a lot. That's more than I have on my personal Mac Mini, and that Mac Mini runs this video production for the YouTube channel. I guarantee there absolutely is a use case out there for a tablet with 2 terabytes of storage, but that's going to be a very rare use case. Again, you see this is my 2020 iPad Pro that has 120 gigabytes of storage, and even when I've used this for travel video editing or travel photo editing, I've never even come remotely close to filling this up. The iPad, while it is a truly remarkable, almost laptop type replacement computer, and it's a device that I've loved owning for the past few years, it still doesn't have a really great or really usable file management system. And because of that, it's hard to want to use bigger files or lots of files on the iPad, because then trying to maneuver them to where you need them is all kinds of a hassle, and it adds enough friction and frustration that it's not really worth doing. I mean, look, even in the newest version of this operating system, iPadOS, does not even have a progress bar when you transfer files. So having a huge amount of space feels kind of wasted to me, because I wouldn't personally want to move around enough files in the iPad Pro to make that worth it. But maybe you just want to buy that storage to get the extra RAM. Gary, you always want more RAM, right? RAM, right? You always need more RAM, right? Okay, yeah, kinda. And I do generally recommend to buy as much memory and storage as you can afford, but it's already a RAM upgrade to buy one of these in the first place. The older models of the iPad Pro had 4 gigabytes of RAM back in 2018, and in 2020, you could get them with 6 gigabytes of RAM. And these iPads are still blazing fast. There is almost nothing that you can throw at the iPad that it can't handle. Apps on iPads are so ridiculously optimized for their specific operating systems that it doesn't need all that much active memory to work. So with 8 gigabytes of memory, you already have a substantial upgrade into memory when previous iterations of memory aren't even being taxed yet. So not worth the money, in my humble opinion. I probably could have said that a little more annoyingly. The one thing that I would say is probably worth the extra money is that 5G cellular connection, though. One of the biggest headaches in being a travel worker, and definitely a travel video creator, is trying to use local Wi-Fi spots to get video files or bigger project files uploaded. I've legitimately spent hours running around to various Starbucks, McDonald's, any place that has a semi-stable Wi-Fi connection to try and upload videos. It sucks so bad. So while 5G won't solve all of the world's connection problems, it should give us a good enough upload speed to not need to do those dances anymore. And if you knew me, you can ask my wife, you would know that I hate dancing. Unfortunately, the cheapest version of the iPad Pro is still Wi-Fi only, so this one, I feel like it does kind of get me right here in the data transfer part of my heart. What, your heart doesn't have a data transfer part? We've talked about the differences, but what do we get shared between the devices? Like, what do you still get if you get the cheapest version that doesn't change if you also buy the double Gary's mortgage payment version? That's legit. What's great, again, the reason I bought the cheapest, is all of the headlining features are in all of the models. So on the 12.9-inch iPad base model, you'll still get that stunning, well, hopefully it's stunning. I assume it's stunning. I haven't personally seen it yet. Super high contrast HDR mini LED display that might be worth the purchase price just to have such a large pro level XDR display that's always with you. Look, that screen is the legit reason to buy the 12.9-inch iPad over the 11, and you get it no matter what version of that iPad you buy. I don't normally get excited about screens or displays. There's only so much resolution or clarity you need when your main use case is watching people play a 15-year-old version of World of Warcraft in 720p. Yeah, all kind of looks the same. And that's really, when I'm not making YouTube videos or working my day job, I just watch people play a 15-year-old video game. But this display with its crazy high brightness capability and that 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio should hopefully be so good my eyes will not be able to use other displays afterwards. Plus, when it comes to power, no matter what model you get, you will get the same M1 processor with the 8-core CPU and the 8-core GPU, much like on the Mac Mini. And look, the M1 is probably my favorite processor of all time, and I'm not one to get emotional about chipsets. It's kind of hard to be emotionally attached to a thing that is always buried in the body of a tablet, but I really like what the M1 has done to the computing space, and I'm real excited to see what it can do in the tablet space. The last major advantage of these new M1 iPads is the Thunderbolt connection on the bottom. I'm hoping, like hope against hope, that this will open up a whole new world of accessories and capabilities that previous models, even though they do have the USB-C port, these just can't match up to Thunderbolt though. Things I'm hoping for: a full display resolution without the crop on monitors. You can get legit desktop level docks for the iPad now, meaning that this is one step closer towards being somebody's only computer. Faster charging, faster data rates. This is, of all the things on the iPad, this is the real advancement in my opinion. Going from A12Z to M1, yes, there will be a power increase, but again, you probably won't be able to tell much of a difference unless you are specifically running benchmarks on the iPad. And while yes, the display should be gorgeous, I'll still be watching people play a 15-year-old game in 720p, so it'll probably look pretty similar for me. But Thunderbolt on the tablet changes the game. This will be the first device that has both the full smart connector and Thunderbolt. Look, if you are as big of a nerd as I am about accessories, the new M1 iPad Pro, both the 12 and 11-inch versions, could be the platform that a whole new generation, like all sorts of accessories that we can't even think about right now. It's the device that kicks a new generation off. I'm so excited for that. But at the end of the day, so what, right? I think the new M1 iPads are going to be awesome, and that's for both models, not just the 12.9-inch version. I think the new connections are going to change the game for tablets being able to be dual used as someone's computer and content consumption tablet. I think the power will last for the next several years, and the display on the 12-inch option could be one of the best displays ever made on a consumer tablet. Heck, maybe even the consumer marketplace, period. But the best part is you don't have to buy the most expensive or even upgrade at all to get all of these headlining features. If you buy an Apple product, no matter at what price, you get access to all of the same awesome features as the higher end. That's true for the $399 iPhone SE. It's even more truer, I said that wrong on purpose, for a device with upgradable feature. The Apple tax rears its head only on storage and memory options, so that's why I bought the cheapest version. Now I just need it to get delivered so we can start messing around with it and making all sorts of content for all of you. When the iPad does come in though, what would you all like to see covered? Leave me a comment below and I'll try to get around to what everybody wants to see. And if you like this video and are considering buying an iPad Pro, here is my pre-release buyer's guide to help out, and it lays out what I would recommend for a few different use cases. And you can find it by clicking right here. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.